Philippine President, Contribution and Achievement.
Emilio Aguinaldo was the first president of the Philippines' First Republic, also known as the Malolos Republic. He was achievement and contribution. He waved the Philippine flag in declaring the independence of the Philippines in 1898. The youngest Filipino president, taking office at age 28, longest-lived president, passing away at age of 94.
He led the country in the Spanish-Philippine War and the American-Philippine War. He led the proclamation of the Philippine independence, known as the President of the Revolutionary Government, signed the Pact of Biak na Bato, creating a truce between the Spanish and Philippine revolutionaries. Emilio Aguinaldo had Bachelor of Arts at the Colegio de San Juan de Letran in 1880.
Manuel L. Quezon was the second president of the Philippines and the first president of the Philippine Commonwealth established under the USA. Achievement and contribution. First president elected through a national election. First Senate president elected as president of the Philippines. The first president of the Philippines under the Commonwealth.
He initiated women's suffrage in the Philippines during the Commonwealth. Manuel L. Quezon created the National Council of Education. He approved Filipino as the national language of the Philippines. He fought for the passage of Sidings-McDuffie Act 1934. His body rests peacefully inside the special monument on Quezon Memorial Circle, featured in the 20-peso bill. Jose P. Laurel was the third president of the Philippines and the president of the Second Philippine Republic. He served president of the Philippines during the Japanese occupation during the World War II.
Achievement and contribution.
Jose P. Laurel is the only Philippine president who served the three branches of government. He became a senator, congressman, associate justice, and president. He organized Kalibapi, Kapisanan sa Paglilingkod sa Bagong Pilipinas or Association of Service to the New Philippines, a provisional government during the Japanese occupation. He is the founder of the Lyceum of the Philippines. He is a law genius, ranks 2 in the Philippine Bar exam in 1915, earned a doctorate in civil law from Yale University in 1920. Sergio Osmeña Sr. was the fourth president of the Philippines and the second president of the Commonwealth.
Achievement and contribution.
He is the founder of the Nacionalista Party. Philippine National Bank was rehabilitated and the country joined the International Monetary Fund during his presidency. The U.S. Congress approved the Bell Trade Act. He is the founder and editor of Spanish newspaper El Nuevo Dia in Cebu City, featured in 50-peso bill, First Philippine Assembly Leyte Land. Manuel Rojas was the fifth president of the Philippines, the third and last president under the Commonwealth, and the first president of the Third Republic of the Philippines.
Achievement and occupation.
Manuel Rojas was inaugurated as the first president of the new republic after World War II. Reconstruction from the war damage and life without foreign rule began during his presidency. Congress accepted the Philippine Rehabilitation Act and Philippine Trade Act laws under his term, ranked first place in the Philippine Bar Exam 1913, featured in the 100-peso bill. Elpidio Quirino was the sixth president of the Philippines and the second president of the Third Republic. He succeeded presidency after incumbent President Manuel Rojas died in 1948.
Achievement and contribution.
Huk Balahap guerrilla movement was active during his presidency. He created the Social Security Commission. He created the Integrity Board to monitor graft and corruption. During his term, Quezon City became a capital of the Philippines in 1948, completed Bachelor of Law at the University of Philippines in 1915, Dean of the College of Law at the Adamson University. Ramon Magsaysay was the 7th President of the Philippines and the 3rd President of the Third Republic. He was the first president who sworn into the office wearing barong Tagalog during the inauguration. His achievement and contribution was, he led the defeat of Hukbalahap movement. He is a chairman of the Committee on Guerrilla Affairs. His presidency was referred to as the Philippines' golden years for its lack of corruption. Philippines was ranked second in Asia's clean and well-governed countries during his presidency. He established the National Resettlement and Rehabilitation Administration, among other agrarian. Carlos P. Garcia is the 8th President of the Philippines and 4th President of the Third Republic. This Bohol native was a lawyer, poet, and a professor, and served as a guerrilla leader during the Pacific War. His achievement and contribution. Carlos P. Garcia was known for promoting Filipino free trade policy, which favored Filipino businesses over foreign investors. He established the austerity program focusing on Filipino trade and commerce. He became a famous poet and known as the Prince of Visayan Poets and the Bard from Bohol. Cultural arts was revived during his term, first president to have his remains at the limbingan ng mga bayani. Diosdado Macapagal was the 9th President of the Philippines. He was a lawyer and economist born on Lubao, Pampanga. He established the first land reform law allowing for the purchase of private farmland to be distributed in inexpensive small lots to the landless. He placed the Philippine peso on the free currency. Representative to the United Nations General Assembly 3 times, he signed the minimum wage law. Diosdado Macapagal signed the law to create the Philippine Veterans. Ferdinand Marcos was the 10th President of the Philippines and the last President of the Third Republic, the most controversial leaders of the 20th century. The longest ruling President of the Philippines, he ruled for 21 years. Marcos declared martial law on September 22, 1972. He increased the size of Philippine military and armed forces. By 1980, the Philippine GNP was 4 times greater than 1972. Marcos built more schools, roads, bridges, hospitals, and other infrastructure than all former presidents combined. Corazon Aquino was the first woman president of the Philippines and the first woman to become president of an Asian country. She was the 11th president and a democracy icon, one of the 100 women who shaped world history. Corazon Aquino was the first woman to be president of the Philippines or any Asian country. She signed the Family Code of 1987, a major civil law reform, and 1191 local government code. She initiated charitable and social activities helping the poor and the needy. Was named Woman of the Year in 1986 by Time magazine. She was featured in the new 500 peso bill together with her husband. Fidel Ramos is the 12th President of the Philippines and the oldest living former president of the country. Fidel B. Ramos is now 92 years old. Fidel B. Ramos was widely credited as the most effective president because he led the Philippines to economic growth. He promoted family planning, hosted the 4th Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Leaders Summit in the Philippines in 1996, presided celebration of Philippine Independence Centennial in 1998. The death penalty was reinstated. The only military officer who reached the rank of 5-star general, who rose from 2nd lieutenant up to commander-in-charge. Joseph Estrada is the 13th President of the Philippines and the first film actor to become a president in the country. Erap Estrada starred in over 100 films in the Philippines and received numerous Best Actor awards. Moro Islamic Liberation Front headquarters and camps were captured during his presidency. Cited as one of the 3 outstanding senators in 1989, he became a mayor of the city of Manila, the country's capital. He won every mayor election in San Juan from 1969 to 1984. Erap was among the Magnificent 12 who voted to terminate the agreement that allows for U.S. control of Clark Air Base in Subic. Gloria Macapagal Arroyo is the 14th President of the Philippines, the 2nd female president and the first Filipino president whose parent was a former president. Gloria Arroyo oversaw higher economic growth than the past three presidents before her. Philippine peso became the best performing currency of the year in Asia in 2007 during her term. EVAT law was implemented under her term. She supported to bring back the Spanish language in the Philippines during her 9-year presidency. She took up international trade at Georgetown University. Benigno Aquino III was the 15th president of the Philippines. He was the first bachelor president, a son of ex-President Corazon Aquino. He was also called as Noynoy or Pinoy. Benigno Aquino created the Wangwangs or street sirin policy. Noynoy initiated shifting to K-12 education in the Philippines. Peace agreement with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front in October 2012 oversaw 7.1% growth of the Philippine economy in 2012. Time named him one of the 10 most influential people in the world in 2013. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte is the 16th president of the Philippines. He's one of the most loved presidents. He's earned a massive fan base after transforming one of the most dangerous cities, or Davao, into one of the world's safest when he was a mayor. He earned political science degree from Lyceum of the Philippines, obtained law degree from San Beda College, signed the Freedom of Information Order, launched a 24-hour complaint hotline, signed an order for smoking ban. Boracay Island was rehabilitated during his term, launched the Build infrastructure program. Duterte signed the Train Law and Comprehensive Tax Reform Program, one of the Forbes list of world's most powerful people in 2016.